Thanks for sticking with America's Weather Center. Weather, unfortunately, threatening to make a mess of the 4th of July travel rush. Severe thunderstorms are expected to impact millions of travelers all across the east. Philadelphia, unfortunately, has been one caught in the crosshairs in the Northeast, staring at a maybe a little more uncomfortable afternoon when it comes to storms and air travel. Public Affairs Manager at Philadelphia's Department of Aviation, Heather Redfern, joins us now. Heather, 4th of July traffic is expected to hit record numbers this year. Now, it may not be as much as Thanksgiving or Christmas, but it is still really impactful. What are some of your department's predictions this year?
So our projections for the holiday week, which actually starts today for us and runs through the next Monday, is 681,000 passengers flying into or out of PHL, and that is 2% higher than last year. So we're definitely seeing those increases in the number of travelers.
And when it comes to the summer months, so 4th of July, my favorite holiday, it's when it's hot, it's warm, and then obviously Christmas and Thanksgiving, it's a bit cooler. Can you tell us about some of the differences in travel disturbances and why maybe summer and severe weather storms could be harder to get ahead of and plan for?
Absolutely. We have these pop-up thunderstorms that happen throughout the summer just because of the temperature and the fronts that are coming through. We ran into that yesterday. Last week, we were at 100 degrees a couple days and we had some really bad storms come through. And there's really nothing that the airlines can do to predict that. In the winter, you have a blizzard, you might have a couple days or, a week or so warning, a hurricane, the same thing. But these pop-up storms just come up, and it's really difficult to prepare for those. You can't really put in a travel advisory for passengers that can make changes like they do with a hurricane or a snowstorm. You just kind of have to wait it out.
Yeah, those popcorn storms are a problem for picnics, beach plans everywhere, and
Yeah.
obviously for airlines as well. Now, are there any specific measures that the Philadelphia International Airport has been taking when, the prep time comes for these busy holidays? And how does it deal with customers or with working with these airlines when it comes to diverted flights? Because unfortunately, the airports can bring out the worst in people when their plans do not go to plan.
Yeah, we stay in touch with our airline partners all of the time just to see what's going on. The FAA, who puts in the ground stops and the ground delays, we're staying in touch with them all the time to have our crews here to they can help out where needed. We put messaging out on our social media to give people a heads up if they're heading into the airport. And not only that, but also to pay attention to weather elsewhere because it might be a great day here, but if there's a storm somewhere else, that could impact the flight getting into or out of PHL and delay our passengers. So we're trying to get them to think about that as well. And getting our ops teams just giving us the information so that we can pass that along, and also reminding passengers to stay in touch with their airlines because that's where the information comes from when you're looking for your flight information. Is a flight delayed? Is it going to be canceled? And then what your next steps would be. So we're really trying to educate the passengers on doing their homework before they get to the airport.
Now, when it comes to Mother Nature, obviously that is the biggest problem or troublemaker when it comes to airlines getting in and out. But can also congestion be a problem? Just the amount of flights that are trying to get out of an airport? And do you foresee any of those issues that maybe aren't weather dependent over the next couple of days?
We should be fine for right now. Have not seen anything from the FAA or from our airlines. But again, that's why we remind passengers that they should stay in touch with the airline because if there is a change in their flight, that's where it's going to come from. And of course, we're in the very busy Mid-Atlantic Northeast corridor. There's diversions and things like that that could just upset the regularly scheduled flights that come in and out. And that's why it's important for passengers to stay in touch with the airline.
Yeah, it's always stay as informed as you possibly can because unfortunately when it
Yes.
comes to air travel, it can be hard, especially when so many people are trying to catch their flight. I know I'm one of them in the next 24 hours, so I'm crossing my fingers there. Public Affairs Manager at Philadelphia's Department of Aviation, Heather Redfern, thanks so much for sharing some of your expertise.
Thank you.